All right, let's see what we got. I think we're going live in just a second here. I tweeted it out already. What's going on, everybody? Anybody out there yet? Not sure if they are, but if they are, I'm here. Everybody's doing well. We are getting ready to count down my top 10 Marvel movies. Hey, there's Dean. What's going on, Dean? Hope everything went well at the clinic. Hope you're doing good. Glad you were able to make it. Totally understood, though. No problem at all. Glad you're here. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here in a little bit. Got a good one for tonight. I think we're going to have a good time. Good, good. Glad it went well. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. It's always, if you got to go to the clinic and stuff like that, it's always, can be apprehensive for sure. Megan's vlog or live stream went really well last night, I thought. I thought she did a really good job. And luckily, she did better than last. Hey, Rob, what's going on? What's going on, Rob? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, Mouse Madness, man. We're going to have a good time tonight. Top 10 Marvel movies. I think you guys are probably going to be surprised with some of my picks, to be honest with you. But I want to get a few people in here before we get started. That way we can kind of count them down. Hey, Noah, what's going on? Noah's in here. Noah's in here as well. What's up, Noah? Thanks for dropping in. Gonna have a good time tonight, I think. We're gonna, yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Definitely, for sure. But Dean, glad everything went well today, for sure. Rob, how did Vegas go? Hope you had a good time out there in Vegas. Saw some of your videos. Looked really good. Looked really, really good. So it's funny, for the first show tonight, I was thinking about what I wanted to do for Mouse Madness. What do you guys think of the logo? Had somebody do that logo for me. Thought it was pretty cool. Yes, everybody, if you could hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. But I had a friend of mine do up the logo for me, so that was really cool. Something a little different from what we've been doing. But I was thinking about the first show, and I said I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go Marvel or Pixar or what, but I wanted to do a top 10 to kind of start things off. And then as the weeks go on, we'll do different things, and I'll have special guests here and there, and we'll talk about different things. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, Rob, keep your Tuesdays open. There might be a Tuesday where I ask you to be a special guest. What's up, R. Johns? How you doing? Glad to see you. Gonna have a good time tonight. We got top 10 Marvel movies. We're gonna count them down. I want to hear from you guys too. Definitely want to hear what you guys think are your favorites. Which ones you like the best? Which ones maybe you don't like? Things like that. I definitely like to hear everybody else's opinion. And when I count them down, each one, as I get down to number 1, I'll kind of give you an idea of why they made my list and kind of why they are where they are on my list for the ones that make it. Because I'm sure mine are going to be totally different than what everybody else likes in reference to that. Hey, Donna, how are you? Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're on the mend. Appreciate you stopping in. Hey, there's Melissa. Yeah, this is not her night tonight, so she has to just watch. For now. Melissa is Melissa D, just so you know. FYI, she's downstairs. She's not part of this. I'm just kidding. She'll be a special guest soon enough, I'm sure. But, well, we got 8 people in here. That's awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. First show, so definitely kind of learn as we go. But we are going to count them down. And I don't know about you guys. Who out there, are you bigger Marvel fans or are you bigger Star Wars fans? I know for a lot of people, they're bigger Star Wars than they are Marvel. And for the longest time, I was a bigger Star Wars fan than I was a Marvel fan. But that's kind of changed as the years have gone on. With the new editions of the Star Wars movies, I haven't been overly happy with those movies. So I've kind of swayed myself to be the Marvel side. Oh, I agree, Noah. I'm both. I like both. But if you told me right now I had to choose between either Marvel or Star Wars, it's going to be hard for me to say Star Wars. I probably would have to lean towards Marvel right now. And that's saying a lot for me, and Melissa will attest to that, because for the longest time, you know, Star Wars was kind of like my thing. I was a big fanatic of Star Wars. But now it's, the new movies just haven't been that great, so it's kind of hard for me to get on with those. But we'll wait a couple more minutes here. We're about 5 minutes in. We'll wait a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started, and we'll count them down. And you guys can give me your list too, because I'd like to hear from you. Like as I do my number 10, maybe you can give me yours, and we'll count them on down to number 1. But these lists are always fun. I always watch them whenever I go on YouTube. I see top 10 lists or top 5 lists. I always like to watch them because it's interesting to see what other people pick as their tops and just how similar or not similar to my picks they are. And as you can see, I got on my Marvel shirt. I kind of give you an idea of where I'm going with some of the movies too. But yeah, it's going to be a good time tonight. Definitely get you going. R. Johns, I'm surprised you're not in the parks tonight. I thought for sure you'd be in the parks. I was watching somebody's live stream yesterday. I think it was Prince Charming Dev who did that challenge, which I thought was really interesting. He did a really good job with that. All right, let's keep going here. We are at the 6-minute mark. 6-minute mark here. Live stream is going. If you guys don't mind, if you're out there, if you want to tweet us out, let everybody know we're out here. That'd be great. Would love to hear everybody. All right, so we're going to count down from 10 down to 1 Marvel movies. And of course, Marvel has now been 10 years in the making. 2008, the first one came out with Iron Man. And ever since Iron Man, it's, you know, I think at the end of Iron Man, when they do the post-credit scene, Nick Fury says it himself. He says, you're now part of a larger universe. You don't even know it yet. And he's talking to Tony Stark at the end of it. And it was true. It was kind of the start of all these just juggernaut of movies that just continue to rake in billions of dollars for Disney and Marvel, and it's crazy. And, you know, to pick these top 10 for me, it really wasn't easy because there's over 20 movies to choose from. And they all bring something different to the table in reference to story, characters, elements, how they're shot, who directs them. There's something different in all of them. So it was really hard picking top 10. But I came up with my 10, and I think they're my good 10. And I think you guys are going to be surprised with a lot of them. But my number 10 movie for Marvel so far, in the movies that we've had so far in the 10 years that we've done it, my number 10 movie for me is Black Panther. Now, for a lot of people, this movie's going to be a lot higher on the list. Now, let me just say, I liked Black Panther. I didn't think this movie was a bad movie at all. I mean, it made my top 10, but it's only 10 for me because as much acclaim as it got, it was good. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I liked that it was an origin story, and you'll see that's kind of a theme here with me. Yeah, I do like that it was an origin story. I like the guy that played Black Panther, and I really like the bad guy in the movie. I just wish they wouldn't have killed the other bad guy played by Andy Serkis because he was a really good bad guy. I wish they'd have kept the one with him. But I liked it. I liked the story. I thought it was a great movie. They did a really good job with it. I'll be interested to see how they do the sequel. But I didn't think it was a fantastic movie, and that's why it's kind of number 10 on my list. It's one of those I've gone back and probably watched it one other time, but I watched it the first time, and that was kind of it. It was not something that I thought was overwhelmingly crazy. And it's funny because a lot of people are talking about how it could get some Oscar nods in the movies, and I think that's kind of really funny that people would think that it would get an Oscar nomination, maybe for cinematography or something like that, or editing. But I don't even think it's the best Marvel movie of all time, let alone Academy Award, worthy. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Anybody out there? Are you into Black Panther? Did you like the movie? Maybe you didn't like it. I did. I really thought it was good. I think the characters I wish I would have seen a little bit more of is for them to integrate a little bit more of the Marvel characters to make it feel more like a Marvel movie. Because to be honest with you, it kind of didn't feel like a Marvel movie, which was kind of too bad. Make sure we're still there. I know the stream health isn't great, but I did like it. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was a great movie. But that's my number 10. Number 10 is Black Panther. And for like I said, a lot of people, this is going to be number 1 for them. Yeah, no, it is. It's a good movie. I do. I think it's a good movie. I just didn't think it was a great movie. But I do think it was better than a lot of the other Marvel movies. It's funny, I could really do a bottom five of the Marvel movies because I know what those are, but it's harder to do top tens because there's so many good ones to choose from. So there you go. Number 10 for me is Black Panther. Now moving on from number 10, number 9, and this one was kind of hard for me to put at number 9 because I thought for a little while there, as I was looking at my, the ones I chose, I almost put this one a lot higher on the list, but as I looked at it and looked at story, because I look at story too. When I'm thinking about these top 10s, I'm looking at story, I'm looking at characters, I'm looking at their significance in the Marvel Universe, I'm looking at, what they bring to the table in reference to characters and character development, anything that makes them surprising or shocking. I look at all that kind of stuff when I look at these types of movies and how I rank them. But I also look at story, what I liked about the story itself, and did I really enjoy it? Is it something that would I go back and watch it a second time or a third time or a fourth time? So those were the things that I kind of took into account. I meant to say that before I gave you the first movie. But number 9 for me, hey, it's Joey's World. All my talk friends. Yeah, talky friends, absolutely. Joey's World, I hope you're doing well. We're counting down our top 10 Marvel movies. Did number 10. Number 10 on my list was Black Panther. Now, number 9 is Captain America, the First Avenger. So this is the first Captain America movie. Now, I'm a real big, as you can see, Captain America fan. He's my favorite. He's my favorite Marvel character for sure. So, Captain America, the First Avenger, I thought was a really, really good movie. Again, not a great movie, but it was a good origin story. They really gave us a great idea of Steve Rogers, where he came from, what he was about. And I thought it was awesome how great they did that and how they really did the transformation from the little 98-pound weakling to the superhuman that he became. Was really, really cool. I don't know how they did the CGI, but I thought it was really, really cool. But I did. Mason said, what? Yeah, number 10 is Captain America First Avenger. I mean, number 9. So that's number 9 for me. But I like the story. I liked the guy that played the German the German doctor that gave him the serum. I really enjoyed his character. Thought he was really cool. And, of course, Hugo Weaving as Red Skull was awesome. I thought he was a really good bad guy. And there will be spoilers in this, folks. Just so you know, there will be spoilers in this. And one of the spoilers right away is that I wish that they had kept Red Skull around a little bit more. I think he's a bad guy or a villain that they could have really developed in the Marvel Universe. But I'm glad they kind of brought him back later on in another movie, which I'm sure you guys know about as well. But I do. I love Captain America. I love Peggy Carter. Her character was awesome. I love the guy that plays Howard Stark. He did a really good job, too. He was really funny and really cool. It's a really good movie. I love it. I love how they also transitioned it, how they did that and transitioned it from the 40s to today. I thought that was really cool how they did that. Really smart. So there you go. Number 9 is Captain America. Do you guys like Captain America? What do you think of that movie? I think I do. I really enjoyed it. My youngest son, Mason, is probably freaking out. He probably thought Captain America was going to be a lot higher on the list for me. But nope, it made it at number 9. Number 9 was Captain America, the First Avenger. All right, let's just click in here. Click in here a little bit more. Let's take a look here. Now, number 7 for me is going to be... You guys, again, might be surprised by this, but number 7 for me, he did. Okay. Yeah, awesome pick. Thanks, Noah. Great movie. Great movie. But number 7 for me is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I like this movie. I thought it was really cool. I liked the concept behind it. I like the fact that they introduced some new characters in it. You got Scarlet Witch for the first time, and you got Quicksilver, which he didn't stay around too long, unfortunately, but they did. They introduced some new characters, which I thought was really cool. And any movie that brings all the characters together, all the Avengers together, I think is always pretty good. But the bad guy of Ultron, I love the fact that they got James Spader to do the voice. That was really cool. And I just thought it was a good movie. I thought they did a really good job with it. And I liked the storyline itself. I thought it was really, really cool. And I like the fact that they They had the one scene, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they're sitting there and Thor's got his got the hammer sitting on the table, and everybody tries to move the hammer, and nobody can move it except Cap kind of gets it to budge just a little bit, and it kind of worries Thor at first, and then he can't move it, but they're like he gets it to move a little bit, and I thought that was really kind of a cool scene that they put in there. But I love Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't know why. I just think it's a really cool movie. I could go back, and there was a time, and Melissa will attest to this, there was a time when it was on HBO like every day, and we would watch like a portion of it every day. Yeah, Jarvis got the hammer. Absolutely, he did. Yeah. But I think he got the hammer, no, in my opinion. I think the reason why he could lift the hammer in the end when he became Vision is because of the Infinity Stone. But I could be wrong. But I think so. But yeah, I love that part of the movie. I think that part is so funny for sure. But yeah, number 10, 9, 8. That was number 8. Number 8 is Marvel Age of Ultron. I do think that's a really good movie. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a good one. And has everybody seen all the Marvel movies? Because it's funny, until tonight, this weekend, I hadn't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp until this weekend. It was the first time I had seen it. Hadn't seen it till then. So that kind of got me caught up, because until then that was the last one that I needed to see before we did today's live stream. And without it, it would have been hard for me to really give a good list without seeing all the movies. And I did like Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't think I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I liked the first one, Ant-Man, but I thought it was good. So number 8 is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, number 7, we're going to stick with Avengers. And that's the first Avengers movies. The first Avengers movie. That was a really good movie to me. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was great. Of course, it was the first time that we actually got to see all these characters together. And I thought it was really cool how they interacted, getting to know each other for the first time, and how they actually first didn't get along. And, yeah, I watched... Melissa's funny. She said I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp without her. I did. But yeah, Avengers is number 7 for me. It's a really good movie, only because, again, you get to meet those characters for the very first time. First time they get to interact with each other. Of course, you have a really big, shocking death scene in that movie, which I was really upset about, but you get to see that. You bring all the characters together, and they're fighting, and of course, you have a really good end credit scene at the end of that movie. The one downside to Avengers, to me, is I didn't like the bad guy. I mean, everybody likes Loki, but we had already had Loki a few times in the Thor movies, and I was really hoping for a different bad guy that they were going to be fighting. And we didn't ultimately get that. We got Loki again. And again, he's very likable. Everybody likes him and stuff like that. But for me, I didn't like that part of it. I wanted a different villain for them to fight. It would have been nice to introduce somebody new, but they didn't. So I'm sorry, I was looking at my dog. He's back here acting weird. But yep, number 7 for me, 10, 8, 7, is Avengers, the first Avengers movie. And number 6 is, for me, Joey's well said, so sad. Don't worry, Joey, she can go watch it at any point when she's ready. It's still there. Number 6 for me, and we'll see if Mason gets this one right. But Mason, well, number 6 for me, Mason, let me know if you got this one. But number 6 for me is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, not Volume 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie. And I'll tell you why this makes number 6 for me. Because my top 5 are really, really big to me. They're probably my they're my top 5 favorite Marvel movies without a doubt. I mean, no question. And that's why this movie just falls outside the top 10. But Guardians of the Galaxy was a really, really fun movie. I don't know about you guys, but when this movie came out, I knew nothing about these characters. Absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, Drax, Gamora. Knew nothing about them. So learning them for the first time was really kind of neat to learn them, and the characters were really funny, really good. It was a really good story. I liked the way they started with him as a kid, and then we got to learn who he was as an adult. And what else was really cool about this movie was the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie is awesome. I love how they begin it. The beginning of the movie when he's first going into this on this planet, and they got the music playing in the background, and he's dancing and trying to go after the orb. It's awesome. It's a great way to start the movie, and it kind of hooked me right then and there. I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. And it was. It was really, really awesome. And they had a really good bad guy in this movie. I love Ronan. Ronan is an awesome bad guy. He is really cool. I love the way he looks. And he's a really good bad guy. And I love the fact that he's going to be in Captain Marvel, which is really cool. And I think he's probably going to be a good guy in Captain Marvel before he goes bad. But I love Ronan. I think Ronan's a really good character. And I like the fact that we did have a little sneak peek of Thanos in the movie as well, when Ronan kind of backtalks him. It's just awesome. It's a really good movie. Everything about it. A lot of stars in the movie. You had the guy from Talladega Nights, whose name I can't think of. And, of course, you have Glenn Close is in the movie. And it really is. It's awesome. It's a great movie. I think it's just one of the best movies out there. But it was such a surprise. And I think a lot of these, this is kind of the theme for me, because it's a surprise because I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what these movies were going to be about. I didn't know the characters. I didn't know whether or not I was going to like them or not. And it was really, really cool. It's such a funny movie. But what do you guys think? Anybody out there? Are you big Guardians of the Galaxy fan? Did you like maybe the second one? But I did. I liked the second one too, but I really liked the first one better. I don't know about you guys, but I really did like it. I thought it was really, really good. But the second one just, I don't know. It wasn't terrible. I think part of the problem with me with the second one is I'm really not a big fan of Kurt Russell being a bad guy. I like Kurt Russell a lot. I always see Kurt Russell as being a good guy. Yeah, I really liked the first one better too, R. Johns. I did too. But I think the second one, I didn't like the fact that they had Kurt Russell in that role as a bad guy. I was really hoping he was going to be a good guy. And I think that was part of it why I didn't like it as much. But there you go. So number 6 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy. Joey, I don't mind Baby Groot, and Teenage Groot's funny too, but I liked, adult Groot for some reason. I don't know why, I just do. Yeah, Melissa didn't like Kurt Russell as a bad guy either. And I don't blame her, I didn't either. But he's great. I love him. But number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. So here we go. Now we're going to get into my top 5. And this is where it really gets into the best of the best for me. These are the ones that I feel are top-notch, ones that I can watch over and over again, and can watch over and over again the whole thing, without a doubt. So number 5 for me, and I think Melissa and Mason are going to probably be surprised with this, because the more I thought about it, the more I thought about what movies did I go into them with little expectation and they blew me away. And that's where these movies come into play. So for me, top 5, number 5 is Captain America Civil War. Now, Civil War, at first it was going to be really a lot higher on this list. But then, I thought about it. I said to myself, what about some of these other movies? What were the ones for me that I thought were going to be, I didn't know what to expect. And then when I saw them, I thought they were out of this world. And Captain America Civil War, I knew was going to be a really, really good movie. I really did. I knew it was going to be great. Again, you have all the characters coming together. So what my expectations were met for sure. And it's just a great, great movie for sure. But the best part of that movie to me is the airport scene. The fight scene where all the characters come together. That was such an epic, epic scene. It's incredible how well they did that. I really think it was fantastic. Hey, Stacy, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. We are counting down our top 10 Marvel movies. Brian's here. Oh, hey, Brian. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Brian. For sure. Say hi to your mom. Happy birthday, bud. Many more. Appreciate you stopping in. Thank you, everybody. We are working on our top 5 now of our Marvel movies, and I'm at number 5, and number 5 is Captain America Civil War. And I was talking about that scene in the airport where they have the big fight scene. I just really love that scene. I think everything about it is fantastic. The interaction of all the characters, everybody fights everybody, and they just kind of went over the top, literally, with Ant-Man becoming Giant Man like that in that scene. It's just fantastic. It's the first time you get to see him use that power. It's just awesome. I love that movie. I think it's fantastic. 2 things I'll take away from that movie that I didn't like and why it's not higher on the list. Again, I know it's, you know, Civil War, so it's the good guys fighting the good guys. But the bad guy himself, I don't like how they used Helmut Zemo, or, you know, whatever you want to call him, Dr. Zemo, as the bad guy. They could have used him a little bit better, I thought. He was kind of underutilized in that movie. I didn't like that. Absolutely, Stacy. Guys, if you haven't read Stacy, she's started uploading videos to her other channel. It's called The Smiths Go To. So it's from the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. So definitely check that out for her, for sure, Stace. No problem at all. Absolutely. But yeah, getting back to Civil War, I didn't like what they did with the character of the bad guy. I thought they could have used a different bad guy and kind of made him a little bit more integral to the story. I mean, he was, but he was really kind of an afterthought. And then the final thing about the movie that was really hard for me to watch is I didn't like Cap and Iron Man almost killing each other at the end of that movie. That was hard to watch, seeing two people that were supposed to be really, really close friends, you know, so that I didn't like that. I thought that was kind of weird for me, and it was hard to watch, seeing them really go at each other like that after all these years together. You know, to see that was kind of hard. That wasn't fun to see. But, I mean, I get it. It's the movie. It was the whole point of the movie. But it was still an awesome, awesome movie. They did such a good job with that movie. And it makes you pick sides. You know, are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man? Obviously, I'm Team Cap. But a lot of people are Team Iron Man. And it really makes you see both sides of the story. They didn't really sway on one side or the other with the storyline. They made it, here's both sides. You have to pick which side you're on. And I thought that was really cool. It was really, really cool, for sure. So that's number 5 for me, is Captain America Civil War. Number 4 is, and again, this is probably one that a lot of people will not put on their list, but number 4 for me is Iron Man. Number 1, the original, the first. I'll go back to that, Stacy, for a second here. Stacy, I understand what you're saying about that with the best friend who knew who killed my parents. I agree with you. I get that point. But that being said, Bucky wasn't himself. He was under a trance or a hypnotize or whatever you want to call it. He was under some sort of mind game. He didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't Bucky at the time. And to me, Steve didn't think it would be in his best interest. He didn't think it would benefit anyone by telling Iron Man and Tony about that. So I get it. Yeah, I'd be upset too, but you know, that's just, I think that's how I see it in my point. But yeah, I definitely was on the side of Cap in that movie for sure. But Iron Man, yes, number 4, Iron Man. I loved Iron Man. Again, this is a movie where we went and saw this, and I knew nothing about Iron Man. I was like, who is Iron Man? I was like, I don't know who this is. I don't even know who Tony Stark is. I've never heard of this guy. And we went to the movie, and with no expectations, but it was fantastic. It was awesome. Everything about that movie was great. I loved Happy. I loved Pepper Potts. Obadiah Stane is a great bad guy. He is one of my favorite bad guys. And, oh, God, Jeff Bridges is fantastic as Obadiah Stane. And it's just a really, really good movie. I really loved that movie. I was blown away by it. And Robert Downey Jr., he's the guy to kind of put everything on the map with Marvel, because if it wasn't him and somebody else, maybe we don't like that movie. Maybe it's not that good. Maybe it doesn't do that well. He's fantastic as Iron Man and Tony Stark. He was awesome. I love Iron Man. Everything about that movie is great. How they see the evolution of how he makes his suits and how he becomes who he becomes. And it's a great movie. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think it's great? I do. I think it's great. Dean, number 4. Iron Man is number 4. But yes, I love Iron Man. I think he's fantastic. It's such a good movie. It really is. It's underrated too, but that's a movie that every time that movie comes on, I'll watch it. And sometimes I'll rent it just to rent it and watch it, because it's really a lot of fun. Yeah, it really is. It really is a good. It's a great movie for sure. Guys, again, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so for me. And, of course, if you could, please go ahead and also hit that like button. As many likes as we can get, we would really appreciate that. If you haven't already, I think I tweeted it out to everybody. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here. But number 4, Iron Man. Iron Man. And, again, I really like that movie. I think it's a lot of fun. Number 3 is along the same lines as Iron Man. And that's Thor. The first Thor. I, again, really think that this movie is an underrated movie. Now, Thor the Dark World probably makes one of my worst Marvel movies. I did not like that movie at all. And Ragnarok, for me, everybody loves Ragnarok. I'm not a very big fan of Ragnarok. To me, Thor Ragnarok was too much of a sitcom, in my opinion. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like a sitcom. And I didn't, Ragnarok is the end of the world. It's the end of Asgard. It's not supposed to be like a sitcom. So I wasn't a big fan of Ragnarok. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't a big fan of it. But for me, number 3 is Thor. This movie is awesome. Again, great characters, good bad guy in Loki, and of course the Frost Giants are there. They're great. But some really good supporting characters as well. In Odin, King Odin, as Anthony Hopkins is fantastic, one of my favorite characters. You have Renee Russo as the mom. You had, of course, Natalie Portman playing Mary Jane Watson. No, not Mary Jane Watson. Mason, you probably remember her name. I can't remember her name now. Or just Jane. But she's awesome. Kat Dennings is in it. It's awesome. It's just a great, great movie. I love the characters. I love the little nods here and there of other movies and characters as well. It's awesome. It's done so, so well. And it's a kind of a father-son movie because you have Odin handing the reins over to his son who maybe isn't ready yet, and that whole situation there. I think it's great. And of course, you have what's his name as the guardian to the gate, who's there as well. Heimdall, who's awesome. I think that the character is fantastic, and it's played so, so well by whose name escapes me. You guys would probably know better than I do. I can't think of his name, but I really think... Oh, Idris Elba. He's fantastic as well. That movie is really, really a good movie. I mean, what do you guys think of Thor? Nobody ever talks about that movie, but I think it is really, really good. I love the story, too. Thor Ragnarok is funny, Noah, and that's just it. And I think that's what I didn't like about it. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. When I think of Thor, the first to move Thor is how I see him. Someone who's serious, who is supposed to be a king, supposed to be a leader, not this goofy guy, and that's kind of how he came across in Thor Ragnarok to me. So it didn't rub well for me. Yeah, for sure, Stacy. That's a good point. But and that's the one thing about Thor Ragnarok I actually did like is I like Cate Blanchett as Hela. I thought she was really good. Yeah, Dean, if you haven't seen the first Thor, you got to go back and watch it. I think that's a really, really good movie. It's one of my well, it is. It's number 3. It's one of my favorite movies. I really think that movie is fantastic, and I think they did it really, really well. And I remember walking out of that movie theater, and Melissa will attest to this, and we were like, I love that movie. That was so fantastic. Because again, we didn't know anything about Thor. We're there and we're like, Thor, okay, he's got a hammer, big deal. What does that do? It doesn't do anything. But it really is a great, great movie. And it's highly underrated, and it really gets Thor going as a great character. And Odin is fantastic. He's one of my favorites anyway. But that's number 3 for me. It's got to be Thor. It's got to be Thor. And I know you guys are probably thinking, man, where's this movie? Where's that movie? But I'm telling you, a lot of these movies do not make my list. And I want to hear from you guys. When I'm done, I want to hear what your number 1s are, or maybe your top 3s. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. So number 2 on this list, and of course, my next 2, my family will know for sure what they are. But number 2 on the list is Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War. It's number 2 on the list for me. It's such a great movie. Melissa says it's a depressing movie. And I get it because it kind of is a depressing movie throughout because the good guys are getting their you-know-what's kicked left and right. And but it really is a really well-done movie. You have every single Marvel character, pretty much, with the exception of a couple, in this movie. You have some shocking twists. You have new characters that we're learning about. You have some fantastic, fantastic bad guys. Josh Brolin was unbelievable as Thanos. He might have been my favorite character in this movie. It really is a fantastic movie. Of course, the end of the movie is unbelievably shocking. And if you haven't seen it already, you have to go see it. It's shocking, but then again, not, because we know what's coming. But it was awesome. I love the bad guys. Thanos' minions, whatever you want to call them, his family or whatever. Those guys are fantastic. I love all those. I think they were really good bad guys. And they just bring all the characters together, and they have their own little stories. Even though they're separate, they kind of really tied it in really well. And it's just fantastic. It's such a great movie. Yes, it's depressing. Yes, the bad guy wins, at least this round, and, you know, with a snap of a finger. And we have some shocking deaths, and some that I don't think are coming back with the next movie. But it really is really, really good. I mean, what do you guys think of Infinity War? Do you think this movie was good? Do you did not like it? I don't know. Melissa's right. He did. He was pretty upset with one of those deaths for sure. And but I did. I thought this movie was really, really good. Well done, well written, well directed. Great characters, shocking moments, great fight scenes, really big fight scenes too. It was pretty darn awesome. Yeah, probably, Stacy. I think we probably, in a way, we've already seen mutants in the MCU, because to me, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're called enhanced. If you remember back to Age of Ultron, they called them enhanced people. They couldn't use the word mutant, but I think that basically we've already kind of been introduced to an enhanced/mutant in the Marvel universe. They just can't really use those words because they're probably copyrighted, and that's why. But yes, I definitely feel that. Melissa says, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Yeah, he didn't feel so good in that scene, for sure. But I did. I really thought that movie was a fantastic movie. Stacy, it's true. It's true. There was a lot of people that were really surprised. I was surprised by a couple of those deaths at the end of that movie. I was really surprised at at a couple of those deaths at the end of that movie. I was like, that's really surprising. And I was like, wow, that one's really surprising. So I thought it was pretty interesting that they did what they did with a lot of those different characters. And if you notice, of the characters that did not disintegrate, it's the original Avengers. Thor, Cap, Iron Man, Black Widow. They're all still, and Hulk. They're all still there. None of them went. So I thought that was kind of interesting that none of them disintegrated at the end of that movie. I thought that was really, really interesting. So there you go. That's my number 2, guys. So number 1 for me is, yeah, Stacy, a lot of people had a meltdown. I'm telling you, they really did. But here you go. Number 1. For me, this is the one. This is the guy. This is the movie. This is the one that, for me, still stands the test of time. I love this movie. Everything about it, and I'll go over why in just a second. And Melissa basically has said it. It is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Everything about this movie is fantastic. It really is absolutely awesome the way they did this movie. Everything about it it's just wonderful. It has such a huge end game in this, and has such a game changer in this movie that it's shocking. You don't even see it coming, and then you're like, "Oh my God, really?" And that's the whole, the whole part of SHIELD being bad. That SHIELD is really being run by Hydra the whole time. It's unbelievable. It just, because up to this point, SHIELD is kind of like the mother. SHIELD is the mom. It's the mother. It's where everybody comes from. It's what everybody looks to. It's the good guys. It's the home base. It's the headquarters. And then all of a sudden we find out that they're not. They're the bad guys the whole time, that we just didn't know it, and they've been running things. And Cap has to, basically he's almost on his own, and he has to fight everybody. And he's fighting his best friend, and he finds out his best friend is still alive. And it's such an awesome movie. And Agent Pierce, played by Robert Redford, is fantastic. He's a really good bad guy. And shocking scene with Nick Fury. We think Nick Fury's dead, and they dismantle S.H.I.E.L.D. at the end. And also we get introduced to Crossbones. He's in the movie, even though we don't know that's who that is at first, but then Crossbones is in the movie. This movie is fantastic. Everything about it is awesome. You have some shocking scenes in there as well. I don't know. There's nothing about this movie I did not like, but it was a game changer. It took S.H.I.E.L.D. and totally dismantled the whole thing and made it so we didn't know who was good and who was bad anymore, that anything could happen. And I don't know. I just love it. And Cap's my favorite anyway, and I just think they did such a good job on this movie that to me it's number one. I love it. But I do. I think it's a fantastic movie. On your left. That's exactly right, Stacy. On your left. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a great movie, and that's my number one. But I want to hear from you guys. What's your number one? Dean says his first one is Captain America, the First Avenger. Made my list, Dean. It was on there. It was number 9. It definitely made the list. It probably would have been higher if I didn't have some of these other movies, but that was my number one. What about you guys? Stacy, what's your favorite? Noah, what's your number one? I don't know if Rob's still out there or who else is still out there. Let me know, guys. What's your number one movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I did. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, for sure. I definitely did. I did know, Stacy, that Quicksilver was the son of Magneto. I didn't know about Scarlet Witch. Joey's World. Iron Man. Good pick. It was my pick. It was my number 4, for sure, Joey's World. I think that movie's fantastic. Definitely a good movie, for sure. I definitely think it was great. Anybody else out there? What's your favorites? Melissa, what is your favorite? You never really told me which one you like the best. I definitely will, Stacy. In a minute, we'll do a rundown. Dean says his worst was Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was probably up there for me too, but my worst is probably Thor: The Dark World. I really did not like that movie at all. Stacy, Black Panther. There you go. Yep, made my list. It was number 10, Stace, for sure. And yeah, I'll go over my 10. Let me go over that while we got them here. Winter Soldier for Melissa as well. Yep, it's a great movie for sure. So let me go over my 10 one more time. So number 10 is Black Panther. Number 9 is Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 8 is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 7 is Avengers, the First Avengers. And number 6, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 5 is Captain America: Civil War. Number 4 is Iron Man. Number 3 is Thor. Number 2 is Avengers: Infinity War. And number 1 is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Stacy says number Guardians of the Galaxy would be tied at number 1 with Black Panther. I totally get it, and that's why it made number 6 for me. Again, my top 5, I just love those movies so much, and that's the only reason why Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't higher. That's a good movie, too. Made my list. Thanks, Dean. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Iron Man 3, Melissa said, was disappointing. Yes, it was. And I don't know if Melissa's saying that or if that's my son saying that. But it was. I didn't like Iron Man 3 because I didn't like how they went with the Mandarin. They kind of made him a joke in that movie, and I wish they hadn't. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Arjon's Guardians of the Galaxy. There you go, Arjon's. Good pick. Absolutely. Made my list. Melissa liked Doctor Strange. I did like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange doesn't make the list to me because I don't think they did a really good job of really introducing Doctor Strange and really giving us a good background of who he was, where he came from. It was kind of like, okay, he's this surgeon, a great surgeon, and he has an accident. and that's it. And then we go from there. I kind of wish it was a little bit more than that. Donna, first Iron Man is her favorite. Absolutely. It's kind of hard to get past that first one. Mason, my youngest son, his favorite is Spider-Man Homecoming. Stacy said she loves Spider-Man Homecoming. I have to be honest with you. I wasn't a big fan of Spider-Man Homecoming. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was that good. It kind of reminded me more of like The Breakfast Club or one of those type movies. It just didn't feel Marvel superhero to me. And maybe that was the point. It was supposed to be. It's about a kid in high school and kind of juggling both worlds, and that's totally fine with me. But for me, it doesn't. It's not even my favorite Spider-Man movie. It's Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi movie was my favorite with Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock. That movie's fantastic, but that's not that's a whole nother that's a whole nother list. But Stacy, Doctor Strange #2. There you go, great pick, absolutely. Doctor Strange is not a bad movie. It's a good movie, good characters. Bad guy is okay. I think he's not the best bad guy in the world. The guy that played the character did a really good job. I don't know. Just something about Doctor Strange wasn't that great for me. I'm going to get the right person to play Spider-Man. Yeah, oh, no, I agree. I think Tom Holland as Spider-Man is very good. I think he does a really good job. I think he captures who the character is supposed to be as a high school kid really, really well. I agree with you there. I just wasn't that enamored with the story. That's all. But he's great. I mean, I loved him in Civil War. He did such a good job there, for sure. Hey, Happiness and Sweet Tea. How are you? Good evening. Thank you for dropping in for a few minutes. I appreciate it. Definitely hang in there, Donna, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, Happiness and Sweet Tea. We just went over my top 10 Marvel movies, counted them down. Number 10 was Black Panther, and all the way down to number 1. My number 1 was Captain America Winter Soldier. Do you have a specific one that's your favorite? I don't know if you're into the Marvel movies. Some people are, some people aren't. Well, Stacey, I think they're going to do a Black Widow movie. I've heard word that they've actually already signed on to do a Black Widow movie. So I think that's coming. Ah, no, not at all, Happiness, Sweet Tea. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you stopping in at all, Wendy. So thank you. No problem. I appreciate you just dropping in, even if it's for a little bit. But Stacey, I think they are going to do a Black Panther and Iron Man. There you go. Good picks, Wendy, for sure. But Stacey, yeah, that's what they're going to do there. If I had to pick a character I'd like to see them make a movie for, whew, man, that's hard. I don't know. I don't know who they have out there that really hasn't gotten their own movie that that I would like to see. That's a good question. It's hard for me to really answer that question because I can't really think of one that I can say. Probably, I mean, now that they own the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think I'd like to see a Magneto movie of just him. I think I really enjoy his character. I love Eric Lyncher. I think he's a really great character, a great bad guy. I think that Michael Fassbender does a great job as a young Magneto, but I love Ian McKellen as the old Magneto. He just makes the part fantastic. So if I had to pick a character, I'd have to say Magneto. Yeah, Inhumans, they were going to do, if you remember, Stacey, and I don't know if anybody else remembers this, they were going to do an Inhumans movie. Because when he initially came out, when Kevin Feige came out with the list of all the movies that were coming up, if you remember, that was one of the movies that was on the list that was going to be coming. And then they changed it to a TV series, and it was horrendous. It was really, really bad. So that was kind of too bad that they did that. I wish that they, I agree, I wish they would have actually done that and made it a movie instead of doing what they did. Absolutely. But, we got more coming. I mean, you figure, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but hopefully you've seen the trailer for Captain Marvel. It looks really good. I have to give it credit. I think it looks really, really good. Brie Larson, I hope she does a good job as Captain Marvel. I think she will. And she's going to be the savior. She's going to be the one. Stacey Rogers. Yes, they did. They really did a good job of casting the younger versions of Magneto and Professor X, for sure. Absolutely, they did. Yeah, both Michael Fassbender and, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Melissa, what's his name? I can't think of his name. The guy that played, McAvoy, James McAvoy as Professor X. Absolutely, they both were really good in those roles. And actually, Kevin Bacon in X-Men First Class was a really good bad guy, too. He did an awesome job as a bad guy. He was really cool in that movie. But that's my list, guys. James McAvoy. Thank you, Melissa. I couldn't remember. Vin Diesel would. Oh, how about that? Okay, I didn't know that, Stacy. Yeah, that would have been interesting. It's funny, but has there been anybody else that's played two characters in the MCU? Wolverine, yes. Lindy, good pick. Wolverine is a great character, and I actually like that movie, The Wolverine. The Wolverine movie where he's over in Japan, I think it's Japan, and he meets the Silver Samurai. That character, that movie was a really good movie too, and that they did a great job with that. And that's actually, I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Wolverine, but if you haven't, that's one of my favorite end credit scenes is in that movie. That is one of my favorite end credit scenes is at the end of The Wolverine as he's going through the airport. That's one of my favorites. I think they did such a great job with that. It leads into the next movie so well. I really thought they did a great job. Stacey Rogers likes Captain America. Chris Evans. Cap's my favorite. He's my favorite Marvel character for sure. And one of these days we'll do DC for sure as well because I'm actually a bigger DC fan than I am a Marvel fan. I really enjoy DC a lot. I think those are my overall favorite character is in the DC universe. My comic book character is the DC universe. Cap's my favorite in Marvel, but he's not my overall favorite. That guy is on the DC side. So one of these days we'll have to do maybe top 10 Marvel characters or DC movies as well, because that could be a whole nother list to do for sure. But I appreciate you guys coming out. Definitely, yes, you're right, Chris Evans. You're right. He was in Fantastic Four as Johnny Storm. But for sure. Yes, Ryan Reynolds was, Melissa. He was Green Lantern in DC, but that's DC. Green Lantern is the DC universe, so that doesn't count. No, they're not doing great with the DC movies at all. But what's funny is, I don't know why. I mean, I think to me, it's the directing. Because I think the people they picked in these roles, other than maybe Ben Affleck, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ben Affleck as Batman, although he did fine. I think Henry Cavill as Superman is good. Obviously, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is perfect. She does a great job. But and Aquaman, I think Jason Momoa is going to be great as Aquaman. And that's another one. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Aquaman. Go see that. Go see that trailer. That movie actually looks pretty good. Stacy, I don't know if they'll leave Deadpool alone or not, to be honest with you. Sometimes, they say don't mess with a good thing, but sometimes you tweak something thinking you can make it better. So don't be surprised if they do mess with Deadpool. Stacey Rogers, Ben Affleck's a better Bruce Wayne than Batman. Probably. Yeah, probably. My favorite Batman is either Christian Bale or Michael Keaton, to be honest with you. So, Wendy, you didn't like Doctor Strange, or you didn't like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange? I'm curious. Hey, Joey's World, I appreciate it. Army of Darkness is on. That is a good movie, actually. But no, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're not going to be much longer, so I definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But DC movies, Wendy, oh my gosh, I could get into that for another hour as well, but I won't hold you guys. But I hope you guys really like the list. Next week we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm hopefully going to see about maybe getting a special guest on the show with me to help me out so we can talk a different subject. I'm going to keep it kind of under wraps for now, but we'll definitely do something different. Yes, Stacy, I agree. Michael Keaton he did great as Batman and Bruce Wayne. It didn't matter. I thought he was great as both. But I thought Christian Bale did too. I thought he was really good. I didn't mind him. But I hope you guys enjoyed it tonight. Definitely enjoyed bringing it to you guys. This is the first of many. Thank you to everybody that came out. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay and sticking with me for an hour. I know it can be kind of hard just hearing one person for an hour, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to the Live Place, Dean and Dreamers Empire and the Live Place for having me on. Definitely appreciate you guys hosting the show as always. You do so great with that, Dean. Guys, if you haven't gone out and checked out the Live Place, do so. It's a great channel for live streams. Lots of family-friendly content out there, and they're great. No, Donna, don't even worry about it. I just appreciate you being there. Thank you, Donna. It means a lot. Definitely, I had a good time with it, and it's a lot of fun, for sure. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. I definitely had a good time with it. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, we'll have ourselves maybe a special guest, and we'll have a new subject to talk about. Don't forget to come out. Again, if you haven't already subscribed and liked the channel, please do so. We appreciate it. And you guys were wonderful tonight. Thanks for sticking with me. And take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll talk to you next week with the episode 2 of Mouse Madness. And we're going to have a new subject to talk about. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a good night. Bye-bye.